Got to get back to civilization soon. Fuck that rooster. UFC Fightpass Invitational 8, I believe. October 10th, Las Vegas. Headlines by our boy Nikki Rod against Michael Pixley. I think he's the only B-team guy on the entire card. But we're going to go through according to shuffle.com, their betting lines here. So I'm not really going to make any picks unless they're my teammate like Nikki Rod. I'm just going to try to talk about the matchups because there are some good matchups on here. Nikki Rod versus Michael Pixley. We'll start with this one. Obviously, Pixley became quite famous for crumbling Meregali's dreams, I would say. So Pixley, these guys have a couple similar opponents, Owen Lively and Adam Bradley. So Adam Bradley arguably beat Pixley. Owen Lively in an event in Britain did beat Pixley, right? So the Bradley matchup was very controversial because he did, according to every definition of the rules, he did win that match, Adam Bradley. But the adcc gave it to Michael Pixley. Adam Bradley even did very good in that match in some of the wrestling exchanges, but he really did secure a sweep to win the match. Again, according to everyone's thoughts. But thank God they gave it to Pixley because Pixley got to show up and beat Meregali and propel him into the position he is in now. Everyone remembers Pixley beating Meregali, but they don't remember him losing to Lovato. So in somewhat of a Eddie Bravo moment, he took out the favorite for the double gold, and then he lost the next round. The next round was a pretty boring one, pretty boring matchup. Lovato's tough to beat according to those rules. So obviously we'll know how good Nikki Rod is. Nikki Rod's beaten just about everyone. He just took home $1 million. He's probably going to waste that $1 million on beef jerky. But the real deciding factor in this matchup will be the wrestling. Pixley has a better wrestling pedigree, but I think Nikki Rod's wrestling is better under a jiu-jitsu landscape. I think Pixley will be able to take Nikki Rod down in some exchanges, but will he be able to keep him down or stop the follow-up reversals? I think not. But again, Pixley did throw Meregali around like a child. However, I think Meregali would lose to Nikki Rod, and that's a matchup that they've been seeking to avoid. What was exposed for Meregali's game plans and sort of talents is really his no-gi bottom game isn't that strong. It isn't that effective. He doesn't carry the leg lock game the other Danaher athletes do. So if you can out-wrestle him, which again isn't easy, you can apparently beat him pretty decisively, which is why I think Pixley did so good, and it's also why I think Nikki Rod would be a terrible, terrible matchup for Meregali. But here, I think we're going to see a Nikki Rod submission. I think we're going to see some crazy wrestling scrambles, but ultimately Nikki Rod will get on top, whether that's through a sweep, a leg lock attempt, a scramble, or even a takedown, and he's going to pass, take Pixley's back, and choke him. I think that's a pretty safe bet, and I think that's what most people feel as well. Now, another good match on this card is PJ Barch against Aldo Canudo. These guys have faced off twice before. One was a long time ago at Costa, where Canudo won the decision. One was recently at the PGF. And at the PGF, PJ Barch was able to heel hook him. PJ is one of the best competitors in that 77 kilo division. He is an asshole because he chose adcc over his boy here. But in what seems to be a typical thing with adcc, there are some very controversial calls. So PJ Barch, according to what I thought, beat Mika Galvão. He basically finished the match in mount. However, they didn't score it, and they gave it to Mika. I don't want to just shit on adcc, but that was a very controversial call. I think PJ won that match. So again, PJ's facing off against Canudo. Canudo is a guy that is a wild card. Many flying arm bars, jumping leg lock submissions. He could catch anyone at any time. However, if we look at this on paper, I think PJ has a wrestling advantage and a leg lock advantage, and I think he would be looking to exploit the same path to victory he did at their most recent match, which again was not very long ago. So I can see PJ coming out here and securing a leg lock in this one. Now let's look at the next, probably my next favorite matchup would be Dante Leon versus Andy Varela. So let's take a look at how they did at their recent ADCC and CJI event. So Dante lost first round to Elijah Dorsey, who was the East Coast Trials winner, beating my son Nicky Ryan in the finals of the East Coast Trials. So Dante lost to him first round, but then went on an incredible run in the absolute and took third place, beating Giancarlo for bronze. Giancarlo being the 88 kilo champ for the second consecutive ADCC running. So Varela basically his two most recent losses were against Joseph Chen. The first one of those was much closer, decided in overtime. This one was much more dominant for Joseph Chen here. So these guys have never faced off against each other, which I find surprising given how long their careers are. I do give a bit of an edge to Dante Leon here. Dante's been on an incredible hot streak lately, apart from that loss to Elijah Dorsey. I'm not sure how reflective that loss would be if they were to match up multiple times, but it might give Varela an idea and a path to victory. I think this one is going to be one of those matches decided by who has the wrestling advantage. Varela, I definitely don't see pulling. Dante maybe pulls later in the match if he's not having success wrestling. Andy is super tough to score. He's super tough to submit. I think I was reading here 59 matches. He's only been submitted 3 times. So really, I do think this one's going to go to the judges here. Dante has shown a little bit of vulnerability to leg locks, but that's not a big part of Varela's game, so I don't see Varela exploiting that. Pato leg locked Dante Leon most recently, but again, it's hard to say much about that given Pato is probably the best leg locker in the world, in my opinion. So really, I give this one as a slight advantage to Dante Leon, but I think it's going to be a tough, hard-fought battle that's going to be decided by points or ultimately a judge's decision. We've got another good match here. Two of the little fellas. We've got Gabriel Souza versus Josh Cisneros. So these guys have faced off before 2 times. However, that was in the gi. Josh was able to win both of those matches. If we look at their accomplishments in no-gi, Gabriel Souza, 2022, was able to take second place. He lost in the final. No shame in that. However, the most recent ADCC, Gabriel Souza didn't make day 2. He lost to our British boy, Owen Jones. We'll claim that victory as a B-team guy. But Josh was able to take bronze at the most recent ADCC. So again, I think if we look at it in terms of most recent performances and similar opponents, Josh was able to beat Kennedy, and most recently, Kennedy was able to DAS Gabriel Souza at the IEGA event. So if we're looking at a similar recent opponent, we see that Josh Cisneros was able to edge out Kennedy. And that's a big one. He beat Kennedy first round. Kennedy would have been one of the favorites to win the whole division, and he was able to take him out. So I'm giving the edge here to Josh Cisneros. Gabriel Souza has been submitted a couple times recently. He had a rematch with Mikey Musumeci. A while ago, he was past Mikey Musumeci's guard twice and hit him with a north-south choke. Mikey Musumeci avenged that loss at a One Championship event recently with a crazy calf slicer leg attack. So I'd say who's coming in more hot here would be Josh Cisneros. Gabriel Souza's been on a bit of a slump, but he could turn that around if he would control the wrestling battle in this match. I don't see both of these guys pulling guard in this match. I don't think either of them is going to be a strong guard player here. But I think Josh has the better wrestling. That's going to be the deciding factor in this match. But again, this one should be pretty exciting. Unfortunately, I do not think this is going to go to a submission, but it's going to be exciting no matter what. And I think it'll probably be decided by a takedown. If Gabriel Souza gets a takedown, I give him a pretty good chance to pass Josh. Whereas Josh gets Gabriel Souza down, I think this is going to be a strong pinning game here. And now let's talk about one last match. This is 2 Brazilian gi guys facing off. Mostly gi guys. Izaki versus Ronaldo Jr. My memory's so short, I couldn't even remember I faced off against Ronaldo Jr. But that was at the famous slapping incident that really outshone my match with Ronaldo Jr. I guess I forgot we had a match too. Ronaldo Jr. has much less experience in no-gi. When I faced him, he had next to none. So I was able to get an easy heel hook victory. Since then, though, he's focused a bit more on the no-gi. He had a crazy scrap with Cody Steele. And gi guys typically don't have great wrestling because it's not a necessary skill to compete in the gi. But really, Ronaldo Jr. against Cody Steele. Cody Steele has great wrestling. They had a great scrap, and Ronaldo was able to win a lot of wrestling exchanges in that match. If we look at Izaki, he's been competing in the gi, again, predominantly in the gi, but he has a deeper history of no-gi. He's even made it to ADCC before, where he lost to Giancarlo first round via points. I think he was the only guy in that division Giancarlo didn't submit. So he is a tough tough guy to take out. This is going to be an exciting one. Sometimes Izaki's very hard to score or submit, which could make for a boring match, a very strategic match. But I think given this Ronaldo Jr. that showed up to face off against Cody Steele, he brought in a lot of energy. He's going to force Izaki to have a scrap here. I give this one's neck and neck for me. Ronaldo Jr. a bit younger, a bit more on the upward trajectory of his career. I'd say Izaki has the experience edge here. If Izaki's going to win, it's going to be by a small margin. If Ronaldo Jr. is going to win, I think he's going to get to a strong passing position, or he's going to win a few takedown scrambles here. But I kind of lean towards wanting Ronaldo Jr. to win because I think it'll be a more exciting match if he takes it out. But I'm really only analyzing these matches. I know there's 2 women's matches on the card, but I didn't recognize the names, so I didn't want to give you a fake breakdown on where you should bet. But if we look at the current betting lines here, Nikki Rod is paying $1.08, Michael Pixley $7. Obviously, you can take a bit of a gamble there, given Pixley's performance against Marigali. We've got Dante Leon paying, another B attacking me. Dante Leon paying $1.15 to Andy Varela's $5. I might lean to some fun money on really Andy Varela there, because he could take that out. I do see it as a possibility, but it is a risky gamble, obviously, according to the betting lines too. Gabriel Souza, $1.66. Josh Cisneros, $2.10. That's a pretty good bet for Josh Cisneros. So I do lean towards him in that matchup. Izaki, $1.40. Ronaldo Jr., $2.75. Again, that's good money towards Ronaldo Jr. in that matchup. PJ Barch, $1.15 versus Canudo's $5. Again, that's pretty safe for PJ Barch there, but there is a chance Canudo could pull off that upset. But I wouldn't think that would be one of the big upsets of the night here. I've got to go safe money on my treacherous ADCC participating friend, PJ Barch. But that's the Fightpass Invitational event. There's some interesting matchups there, but the jiu-jitsu scene's a bit dead right now. It's a bit boring. I think everyone's waiting for CJI 2. We're waiting for what we're going to do with it as well. But yeah, it's hard to get the competitors to compete after they won $1 million. And really, fucking Roosters again, everything feels, again, a bit boring in the scene right now. I think we need something to shake it up. ADCC's not for 2 years. That Rooster's been fucking waking me up every morning in this fucking place. And that bee's attacking me. Got to get back to civilization soon. Fuck that Rooster.